Hello and welcome to How Do You Build That with me, KingZee. Hey, what's up everybody? My name is KingZee. Welcome back to How Do You Build That. In today's episode, I'm going to be attempting to show you guys how to build some custom oak trees. Started building these a little while ago, and I've got a few requests to show you guys how I build these things. So I figured today's episode is going to be a tree tutorial. Let's go ahead and jump into the build. All right, so as with every tutorial video, let's start out with the build palette. We're building an oak tree, so you're not going to need a whole lot of blocks, but you will need oak leaves, oak logs. I like to use the all-sided bark log in this case for most of the branches, though as you're building the trunk up, you can use regular oak logs just to save yourselves a few materials. You're also going to need spruce fences, spruce slabs, and spruce stairs. I like to use these spruce variants just because I think that they match the oak bark logs pretty well. So let's go ahead and jump into the build. All right, so the very first one I'm going to show you guys, I'm going to grab this little piece of string that I've hidden here. Come in here, grab myself a little sapling. You guys know that I like to use these if you watch the other tree tutorial video, but these can make for great decoration in your forests, in your pots, around your towns. And I think saplings are highly underused, and I think mainly just because people don't like putting string on top of things. But if you're looking at something from a distance, you really can't even tell that the string is there. So I would try to use some of these more. It just adds a little bit more foliage to your areas other than ferns and leaves and flowers. Gives a little bit more green and a little bit more brown in some areas. As you can tell, there's a lot of green on flowers that really kind of blends in with the grass, and these can really kind of break it up a little bit. Now I'm going to build our first tree over here, and this is going to be a little bit of a youngling to start out with. And a little bit of a disclaimer for you guys, this tutorial, the techniques I'm going to show you are kind of minimal. Building these kinds of trees is kind of hard, and mainly just because a lot of these trees, I would think oak trees look a lot different from each other in particular. So as you're watching this tutorial build, kind of take it as more of like an inspiration to use when you're building versus gospel, if you will. So the first thing I'm doing is just laying out a few branches. I don't really like to use any of the logs or the slabs or stairs in these smaller trees just because I think it'd make it look too awkward. Once we get like bark fences, I think it'll be looking a heck of a lot better in here with these trees. But for now, we got to use what we got, and what we got is not a lot, but hopefully in another update or so, and you can kind of see I'm leaving this leaf floating. I'll connect it back together a little bit later. I'll do something weird with it, something like that. So you can connect these on the diagonal. And if you're wondering what this little leafy floaty bit is outside the block, it's actually just a texture pack thing. It's a Better Leaves add-on that I got from Jerm boy. If you guys want to see where to get that, it's all in the description down below. But yeah, I'm just going to keep placing these around. I'm going to kind of move around the tree, trying to basically make these leaves fan out a little bit and give myself a little bit of volume, but not too much. I want to create an airiness inside the tree. So you'll see me do, this is a technique I'm going to show you right now. So I'm going to place a block here, and then when I place this block, I'm going to place it diagonal. That's okay to do. I never really try to place a block directly on another block. It makes it too chunky. So what I'll do is I'll place it one above and or one below, and I'll take out that block just to create a little bit of airiness. And then the same thing over here. There's a block behind there, kind of adds a little bit of depth to the tree, and it's still okay. Place one back here on top of there. I'll come out two, delete this one, and usually if I have a floating block here, I'll try to connect it in some kind of way. So I'll just do something like this, bring this one up. I might even put a leaf down here, bring this one out this way just to kind of place some more green in here where I think there should be. I'll place a leaf down here just to kind of bring the leaves down a little bit more. And I'm just trying to add as much as I can without going overboard. And you can see it's already kind of taken shape for us here. But you can see there's some flat portions here, which I'll probably just do something like this to drag it out a little bit, make it look a little bit different from the side. And trees are kind of, you know, they're really hard to build. So if you're having trouble with it, don't be afraid to take away some leaves, put some in places where you think you need them, delete them if you don't think they look good. It's a whole bunch of trial and error with these things. So you can see I got kind of a nice little shape going on here, but the middle is kind of missing some things. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come back through here. I'm going to try to make something in here to make it look a little bit better. I like to do the outside first to get that outside looking as decent as I can, and then I'll come back through the middle, add a little bit more volume here. When I first started out building trees, the tops were like super flat, like I was building from down here in survival, and I would make this look really nice and have a lot of shape to it. And then when I get back further, it'd just be like super flat on the top, kind of like that. If you look at trees in real life, they grow up and up and up, and towards the center of these trees, it's really it's really apparent that they grow from like the center up and then branch out that way. So I try to make it look as best I can like that. So this branch kind of stretched out a little bit further, so I'm gonna keep taking that up, and you can see it doesn't have to be perfect. There's no such thing as a bad looking tree if you keep messing with it enough. And I like to take the Bob Ross approach when I'm building these trees, that everything you do just kind of like a happy accident. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave this tree kind of where it's at. I might add a few more leaves here and there just to kind of hide some of the branches that I don't like seeing. I want to see a little bit of branches, but I don't want to see a whole lot. But that's kind of our little youngling tree right here. Maybe I'll even come down here to add a little bit more just to give me a little bit more fullness right there. And there's a little spot here that's kind of missing something. I'll go back over maybe right there. We'll go ahead and leave that there like that, just to give myself a little bit of connection there so it's not totally blank. And the last thing you can do to kind of make these trees look a little bit better is come back through with a few fences up in the top portions of these trees. These probably won't connect to your leaves at all. It makes a little bit more difference when you come back through with the larger trees that I'm going to show you. It'll give a little bit more connection and make things look a little bit better. But for now, with a small tree, I think it looks pretty good. Let's go ahead and move on to the next size of tree. Okay, so first thing we're going to do, you're going to use your bark logs and or just your regular logs to build up a trunk. And I'm going to build this one up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tall here. Actually, I'll probably just bring it down one more. I'll bring it up 4. I'm going to bring a side out here like this, and then one right here just to give myself a little bit of a trunk. I'll bring up a stair on one of these guys to make it look like it's leaning upwards a little bit. I might even put one here and here, and I'll place a block up there. Though it is okay to just leave it like this. It's not going to make too much of a difference. You can just add a little bit or a lot, whichever you feel is necessary. On this back end, I'm going to add another stair, and then I'm going to add myself another slab back here like that. These can kind of vary up a little bit, so I'm actually going to take that away. It doesn't look too great. But yeah, you can kind of mess with these a little bit, and it can be a little bit tedious at times, but that's kind of all you can really do. So this one, I'm not going to be making it too crazy. I'm just going to come up one here. I'm going to leave a diagonal here. I'm actually going to come out like this on this one. I'm going to build it up right about here. Build this one up too tall, bring it out one like this, maybe push it back this way. I'm actually going to take this one up right here, and then I'm going to bring it out one more. I'm going to come to the diagonal and build it out that way. And this one I'm just going to take up here, come out to the diagonal, break these blocks right here, and that one there. So this is kind of our trunk and branch layout here. You can see I've got a middle portion here that's kind of breaking up a little bit, and it's not really connected on some of these diagonals like you think a tree would be, but that's totally fine. What we're going to do now is we're going to come back through. We're going to add a few of our slabs in here. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add a slab probably here. I might add one there, there, and there. So on these diagonal ones, I like to add just slabs on either log on the tops or bottom just to make it look a little bit more connected. Some of these guys I'll add a stair. Some of these guys I'll just add like a slab down here. It depends. It varies on what I want to do. And then here I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to add a few slabs. This one I'm actually going to add a stair up here, give myself a little bit more turn, and then same with this one, make it look a little bit more thick going all the way up there. And we're going to give this the illusion of branches as we continue, but I think that's good. I have these two on the same plane, and then that one a little bit higher, one block higher. Now we're going to come through, we're going to add our leaves. So I like to start out with putting leaves on the fronts of all these logs here and kind of indicating where I want them to be pointing, what direction they're going to be branching out. And I'll come up top, I'll add another one, and you can see these are all kind of connected. I don't really do the whole technique of making an area right here. I want this to be as thick as possible right there. And then I'll come back through and give it that airy feeling. So I'm just going to come around every once in a while. I'm going to place a leaf. I'm going to take away a leaf. I'll add some here. I'm trying to go up and down at the same time, so it's kind of hard. So this one I'm going to put a temporary block here, another temporary block, and bring it down one, just to kind of give us a little bit of difference here on the outside. I might even bring it out this way and this way, just like this, just to give myself a little bit more foliage here. And when I feel that one's kind of looking all right, I'll move on to the next one. Trying to make things connect, trying to make things look a little bit more full, and or take away things here and there to make them look a little bit nicer. And I'll just keep working around the tree as much as I think I need to, and or taking away things that I think look maybe kind of weird or that I think maybe should be a little bit different. And then I'll come back through and I'll connect some of these things. So like this, I'll kind of make a little bit taller just because it is reaching up a little bit higher. And always remember to come back to the middle a little bit as you're working these bigger trees, just because it is kind of hard to go back through and see what you're working with. And don't forget to add maybe some leaves down here to the bottom. Try to connect them up to the leaves up top here. It makes a whole lot of difference when you're looking at your trees from down below. It's not so sparse. It's kind of like this. It just adds that little bit more. And then you can see they're already trying to connect here a little bit because I've spanned this one out quite a ways. And that's kind of what I do. I work around this branch here. I'll work around this branch here and that branch there. And then eventually I'll start coming through and I'll try to connect them in a way that doesn't look awkward. And if this one's going to be like a little bit taller here, I try to connect it as best I can without making it look kind of strange, and also trying to keep that airy feel. And some of these blocks I will delete to make them look a little bit better. I'm actually do something like that, make it a little bit taller there. And I can already tell I'm gonna have a flat top here, but we'll go back through the middle and add something a little bit different. I'm gonna add a leaf down here and then a leaf up here. That's fine that those connect a little bit. And we're kind of getting a decent shape here. It's not too bad. I feel like I could add some more stuff down here. Maybe down like this, and also down like this. And I'm gonna keep repeating this. This is really trial and error kind of stuff, guys. It might look like I know what I'm doing, but I'm really just kind of throwing things together here and trying to make it look as good as I can. And if it turns out that it looks good the first time I do it, it's by total accident here. I've had a little bit of practice building these trees now in the survival world, but I will admit that this is still the most challenging thing to build for me in Minecraft. And now I'm going to go back through. I'm going to add the center here. I'm trying to make it look as best I can. This looks kind of strange. Let's go ahead and do something like that. Get that out of there. We'll do this. Something like that. We'll do that instead. And then we'll bring this one up and out. I feel like we do need something there though. But yeah, and then that kind of gives you a nice looking little tree. Nothing too crazy, nothing too fancy. And you can kind of see some of the branches in here. That's a real key to making these things look good, is being able to see some of your branches throughout this tree. This one I don't really have to add a whole lot of branches because it is kind of like a smaller tree and it already looks kind of good. But I will go back through here to the top and I'll add actual either logs in certain areas. Like I'll probably add a log there because you can see that at the top and it's still surrounded by leaves. And I'll kind of circle around and see where I think I might need a log or 2 or 3 or something like that. And then sometimes I might even just put a fence on some of these. And you can see that it adds that little bit of connection there when you do place it on these larger trees, because if you're putting a log in there and you put a fence there, it actually does connect to that block, which makes it look a little bit better. So I might add those here and there just to make things look a little bit better. Something right here. And that also gives you the ability to add like a little leaf on top of there, kind of cover it up a little bit, make it look a little bit better. And same with this one here. I'm actually going to do something like that just to kind of hide that a little bit better. Gives it a little bit more height there. And then it also gives you the ability to make these things look not so flat on the top, because if you're adding a branch there, it's like, okay, there's a branch there. That means the leaves can kind of spread out a little bit more. And then when you come down through here as you're walking on the ground, you can kind of get a little bit better look of how this tree is starting to take shape. And I might add a branch down here just to give myself a little bit of extra depth, a little bit extra detail. And I think this one's kind of done, honestly. It's not going to be a huge tree, but it is a nice little tree to add to your world. Again, you can kind of mess with the base a little bit if you want to. I'm totally fine with this one looking the way it is. I think this tree looks pretty good overall. I think I'm gonna leave it where it's at. You don't want to go overboard with these trees, because I found that the more you touch them in one sitting, the worse they start to look. If you don't like the way it looks and you want to come back and rework it at a later date, I would recommend doing that, because you'll kind of see some of the flaws. Maybe practice a few more trees and then see where your errors are at. But this tree is looking pretty good to me. I think we're gonna call this one right here. I might add, as I say that, I might add a little bit of something right here, just like that, to give me a little bit more fullness in there. It's looking kind of flat, and maybe take that one away. Yeah, that looks good. But yeah, we'll call this one done. Let's go ahead and move on to the largest tree that I'm going to build today. All right, so for the last tree, I'm going to show you guys something a little bit different. I'm going to build up the trunk, about 4 here, and I'm going to attempt to make this thing look a little bit crazier. We'll see if I succeed or not. You do want to get some varying heights in here. Try to make things look a little bit different. Maybe even add a little kind of branch right there. I think I actually want to swing this one up here like this and do something like that. Maybe even like this. So we want a little bit thicker trunk here. And then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to try to turn this thing. So I'm going to go right here and right here. Place a log on top here, and then I'm gonna turn it again, place another log on top. I think I'll go with a slab there. We're trying to make this thing look a little bit more eccentric, a little bit more crazy. I'm gonna keep messing with this thing until I like how it looks. Because I do want something a little bit different here. I want something kind of leaning out this way. All right, so I'm kind of liking this shape here for the trunk. Like I said, it's a little bit more eccentric. Now we can start taking up the branches. What I'm gonna do here is I'm actually gonna turn it at a diagonal real quick. Which like I said is fine to do. Let's take it up 1, bring it out this way, and then like that. We wanna stretch it out further, just a little bit. We'll bring it up, Then I'll bring it up at a diagonal just to give this thing a really like reaching effect over here. And now let's kind of bring it up a little bit this way. So let's come up here, take it out this way, bring it up. Maybe we'll go up 2 here, another diagonal one. And let's actually stretch this one out this way. So I'm gonna turn the logs a little bit horizontal, and actually I'm gonna take that one at a diagonal as well. Give us something a little bit different. It'll reach up and out, and then we'll have probably another 3rd branch facing out this way. Just because I think it'll look pretty good. Oops. I want this one kind of stretching out. And that's looking kind of good for some branching system. It is a little bit taller. It is a little bit more eccentric. Like I said, I might want to bring this one out even one further. And actually, let's bring it out 1 and up 1 as well. So these are all on the same height, aren't they? That's not good. Let's bring that one down. Bring it down a little bit. So that's at a varying height. That's at a varying height. And let's actually take this one and move it up 1 higher. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make a little bit of a branching system off of some of these existing branches. Going to try to give ourselves a little bit more room to work with here. And I'm trying to take it off of some that don't really have much connection. That's kind of a weird little connection, but it's okay. I want to bring this one up a little bit. I mean, those are at the same height, so let's do that. Let's take this one kind of inward a little bit, reaching up and then reaching out. This will give our leaf system a little bit better connection in here as well. Let's make another connection. Let's do it here at a diagonal. Bring it up just a little ways here like that. I like that. It doesn't need to be too high on the back end. We're not really going to be looking at that side. What I do think I need though is maybe a branch kind of coming down a little bit. So let's come down here. Kind of like that. Maybe instead we'll do something like this and have it reach up a little bit as well. So this looks kind of strange just because it's so like close together. Let's actually take this one and make it a little bit different. Let's bring it this way. Getting rid of some blocks that I do not want to get rid of right now. So let's do it. That's right? I think that's right. And let's connect it here. That looks kind of weird. We'll keep it. It's kind of crowded right there. Maybe we'll leave that and let's do a short little branch there, and we'll bring that one up 1 more. Give us a little varying height. And like I said, this is just our branching system, nothing too crazy here. And I'm kind of happy with where it's at. So I'm just going to go ahead and block in some of the slabs like I do, just to give ourselves a little bit better connection in certain areas. We can use stairs in some cases, not a whole lot. And you do want to mix it up with a few fences just to make sure you have enough variety in your tree, but do make sure to stick those slabs in where necessary. I'm gonna stick a fence down there. Give us a cool little look right there as well, and maybe even one there. I'm not trying to overdo it with these slabs or stairs or anything like that, so there's actually gonna need to be probably a stair there just to fill up that connection a little bit. And I'm gonna fence that little spot there. Now I'm just going around to make sure I didn't miss any connections here. I probably should put one here and here. I'm gonna put one on the top. Anything else that I possibly missed? This one, and I'll place one there as well. But there you go. There is our tree trunk and our branching system kind of finished up. And because you've already seen the technique on these 2 trees, what I'm actually gonna do is do a little bit of a time lapse, maybe kind of talk through what I'm doing a little bit. But I hope you guys enjoy this little segment. All right, so I'm doing the little leaf pattern that I told you guys in the first 2 trees, just bringing out some of the branches a little bit, trying to get the right directions on where they're going. And then from there, I'm gonna start filling out the tree. And I tried to keep it as non-sporadic, if that's even a way to like phrase that, as possible. But you can see as I'm going through this tree, I tried to go around in one direction, went back around in the other, because building these trees, you really need to get it from all angles, and it's really hard to do. So all I was really trying to do was fill out the tree, make it look tree-like, and get a good shape to it. But you can see just how sporadic some of the building is, because I'll see something where I need to fill in, or I'll see something where I need to take something away, or I won't like how something looks against something else, so I'll try to go back through and do it that way. But I tried to keep it going around the tree as best as I possibly could, but you'll see some of these weird camera shifts and things like that later on, mainly just because that's kind of how I build the tree. I don't stay in one spot and kind of work my way around the tree, kind of like how I do with building buildings, because when you build buildings, it's more like a defined shape. You know, you want to have something structured, and you can kind kind of repeat the process a little bit. But with this tree, I want it to look dynamic. I want it to look erratic. I want it to be alive. And that's probably the hardest part about doing organic building is nothing is even, nothing is odd. Everything is in place, but out of place at the same time. So hopefully seeing this from a third person view shows you just how sporadic trying to build like a larger tree is, even a smaller tree, but a larger tree gets exceptionally more difficult. And I was having some problems with replay mod trying to get it to work. So I had to update my replay mod and my fabric loader and stuff like that. So it's kind of a pain. Almost didn't get this video out to you guys because of that, but I ended up fixing it. I actually had to re-record this. So I took out all the leaves and then replaced them. I honestly think the tree came out better the second time, but I would have liked to not have to do that. But I mean, if the end result is that we got a better looking tree, then we got a better looking tree. And I'll do something a little bit different at the end of this thing. You'll see me start placing some logs in here pretty soon. And then after the logs, I'll place some slabs around there to kind of imitate some more smaller branches inside the tree. And then I'll even go a step beyond that and I'll add a few fences here and there to give the illusion of some more branches. And then I'll kind of dot some more leaves around to kind of hide it a little bit better. I think this is kind of where we start doing that a little bit here pretty soon. And forgive me if this is kind of off timing because I'm watching this in real time. And I know that I'm gonna have to speed it up a little bit because I don't want the video to be too crazy long for you guys. I feel like you'll learn a little bit better if it's going a little bit slower. And I tried to do the camera shifts and the timing to where you could actually see what was going on at least a little bit. You're not gonna be able to tell completely, but that's kind of the fun of building these trees is it's nothing too defined. You can't really get super technical with them. You just kind of have to jump in and start building. Funny enough, that's how a lot of building is. Honestly, if you guys are looking to get better at building, just jump in there, try to build something cool. If it doesn't come out good, then I mean, what I did is I started creating I created a test world and I build random stuff in it sometimes. And I do delete the stuff that I don't like. I wouldn't recommend doing that because then you can't really look back on your progress. And I think it would be really cool to look back on progress, but I like to see, oh, this is nice, this is nice, this is nice. So I think that's just my opinion is if I don't like it, I'll keep reworking it and reworking it until I get something I like. And then I'm sure later on down the road that those things I won't like anymore, or I'll think of ways to improve them. And instead of going back to redo those, I'll just build an entire new building. So in a sense, I guess I am trying to do that, but I'm trying to get it as good as I possibly can the first time around. I actually have a lot of these trees that I practiced in on my tutorial world that actually got the base of this tree. A little bit of the design from that world. I came up with a tree trunk design similar to this, but it's actually, this one I think came out a lot better. But yeah, like I said, just keep experimenting with all your builds. Keep trying to get better. I really hope you guys enjoyed this oak tree build tutorial. If you guys have any more build ideas or tutorial ideas, make sure to let me know down in the comments section of any one of my videos. Just put in hashtag how do you build that with a short description of your build idea. Hope you guys liked this tutorial. I know it wasn't a block for block build, but hopefully you guys get a little bit of inspiration. If you could follow along block for block, then by all means copy these trees. I always love to see what you guys create. So if you have any pictures you want to tag me in, my social media will be down in the description below for my Instagram and my Twitter. And if you guys haven't already checked out KingZee's Empire, the survival let's play series that I have going on my channel, where actually most of these build tutorial ideas come from, make sure to check that series out as I got big plans and I'm hoping to keep it running for a very long time. So I'll see you guys next time on How Do You Build That. My name is KingZee. I'll see you all later.